podcast. Jay, your host for Headies. Today we're going to be going over my new grow. So I was starting to have problems with hydroponics. Again, I already knew I was going to have problems, so I had some seeds started, some autoflowers, and when those sprouted up and they were about ready to bring over here, I killed off the hydro grow. Had to be done because they were getting really rotten. I wasn't going to have another bad grow again. So saw that coming and we got this started, and luckily I had already prepared living soil because I wanted to have another option in case I had another bad hydroponic grow, and I have some experience with soil. So I used to work doing landscaping for years. I used to work at UPS and landscaping at the same time because they weren't very great paying jobs. But my house, my mother always entered home and garden competitions. So we were in the Washington Post. I volunteered. We were in there a couple times for winning competitions. I volunteered at the National Arboretum. So, and that was long before living soil was super popular. That they were talking about the Food Network web and stuff there. So I was learning about that back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I do have some experience in this. I wouldn't say it's a lot. A lot of people have a lot more, but it's enough for us to get started and jump into this new part of the growing universe. So we're going to go over the equipment. So starting with the tent, we have AC Infinity, exhausting outside, dehumidifier in the other room. We have a timer for UV far red lighting whenever I choose to use those. And showed off the hydro grow. We have AC Infinity humidifier, AC Infinity fans. A duct that is currently not hooked up apparently. Holy shit, I'm going to fix that right now. So we have Maryshydro FCE 4100 lights. We have the additional UV and IR far red lights that can be added supplementally, supplemental lights. So what I had to do was I had to get the tarp. I had to mix together 1/3 aeration, 1/3 base, 1/3 compost. So what that ended up being was, let's see, I'm gonna have to go to the whole list. So if we look through the study, you can see that it's only one study. It needs to be replicated to be proven fact a bunch of times. There could be other factors at play. However, because of this study and because other people have said the exact same thing online, I decided to not use humic acid, which is why I decided to mix my own fertilizers. So we mixed our own fertilizers to remove humic acid because it lowered THC by like 30%. So if you were getting like 30% THC and you lost a third of it, you'd be getting 20% THC. If you had a 30% THC flower, you might only get 20%. And it's evident because the side buds are just as potent as the top buds. So if you are growing with humic acid and your top buds are growing just as potent as your side buds instead of much more potent, this is the reason why. It's humic acid. It affects your THC. To start off with the living bed soil, I got a 4x4 bed, which is a little bit less than 4 feet by a little bit less than 4 feet by a little bit less than 1.5 feet deep, which is 165, 175 gallons-ish, or 22 cubic feet. So I had to fill up 22 cubic feet with 1/3 cocoa peat, 1/3 rice hulls perlite, 1/3 compost, and worm castings. That breaks down to 15 gallons or 2 cubic feet of biochar, 8 gallons or 1.1 cubic feet of compost, 25 gallons or 3.3 cubic feet of worm castings, 24 gallons or 3.2 of peat, 24 gallons or 3.2 of cocoa core, 24 gallons of rice hulls, 24 gallons of perlite, 24 gallons of raised bed in the soil. I also added 22 cups of basalt rock dust, and from there we'll get into the down-to-earth recipe that I mixed together. So to get I'm going for like a 4-4-4 in the soil, and now the compost and all that stuff that might make it 1-1-1. So I need to add 3-3-3 was my original thought process. I'm not 100% positive on that. Maybe some soil scientists can chime in and help me out here, but that's all I was thinking this would work. So I mixed 22 cups of oyster shells in there, which was 5 pounds. It was actually 20 cups, so I was 2 cups short on that. But let's see. These actually changed a little bit, the ratios. I'm going to go over how they changed and how to calculate them right now. But basically, langbonite is 0,022. It has some calcium in there, some sulfur. Rock phosphate is 0,30. Crab meal is 430. Has calcium. And chitinins or whatever. It's kind of like insect frass, where it helps your plant produce secondary metabolism because it detects bugs and stuff from the chitlins or something. I don't know. Kelp meal, which is good for microbes. 102, and it also has some growth hormones in it, I think. Same thing with alfalfa, has growth hormones in it. Alfalfa is 2.5, 0.5, 2.5, and insect frass is 3.11. Good microbes, chitinins or whatever is in there. I added clover into the system as ground cover, so that can produce nitrogen and put it in the soil. The rice hulls break down and become silica in the soil, so we have a good amount of silica, calcium, and all that stuff. And then we're going to mix these things together to make the 3-3-3 ratio and to make different amendments. So to make the 3-3-3, because one of these numbers is off. Let's see. The alfalfa is not 2.5, 0.5, 2.5 anymore. Now it's 201, I believe, is the new one. So I had to redo the calculations. And let's see. So to get the 3-3-3 ratio, you have to train ChatBotGPT to do some calculations for you. Now I'll scroll down here, try to find an example. I was talking about this. Let's see. So here we go. NPK final equals VS1 times NPK-S1 plus VS2 times NPK-S2. So if there's 6 of these things, there's S1, S2, S3 through 6. And then all that is divided by VS1 plus VS2 plus VS3 plus VS4 all the way through 6. That's how you get that. And you have to come up with a balance ratio using that equation, and it is a pain in the ass, but there's some logic to it after you watch the computer do it a few times. But after you tell it to use that ratio and you tell it the NPK of each of the ingredients, you can tell it to make you a mix. Okay, so the total ended up being a quarter cup of langbeinite, 5.6667 cups of alfalfa, 5.666 insect, 5.66 rock phosphorus. Kelp is 3.1979. Crab meal was 3.7167. And all that can be converted into cups, tablespoons, and teaspoons, which is what I did. And that's how I got the 333. So we can use this exact same equation and come up with amendments. Let's say I wanted to make, so because I have 444 in there, and I believe that the plants are going to use 311 during veg. They're going to use, so a month into veg, I threw 311 on top of it. And next month it's going to be, I'm going to have to remend for pre-flower. Pre-flower is going to be, I swear I have a brain somewhere. Okay, so late flower is going to be 0.2533. And veg is 311. Let's see, the freaking one's already said. The 333 is the first one I mixed in. 132. I'm pretty sure it's 132. Oh yeah, here it is. 132 for early flower. So 132. So after you get it trained, you have to double check everything. But here we go. .5 cups of 132 is 0.68 cups of insect frass, 0.068 of langbeinite, 0.272 of rock phosphorus, 0.136 of alfalfa, 0.136 of kelp meal, and 0.204 of crab meal. You could do the same thing for 0.33, 0.2533. If you wanted to make 346 or 64, whatever, you know, some of the other brands are using for higher numbers. If you want to push your plants a little harder, if they're able to take a little more, maybe that's the way to go. But because what we mix together, the biochar, and all the stuff that's inside the soil, what that's going to do is the microbes are going to take up these, you know, they're going to process the ingredients, they're going to turn them into what the plant needs, and they're going to store them, and they're going to live inside the biochar. So when the plants want the potassium, then they tell the microbes, and the microbes get it from the biochar that they had it stored in, and that's how it works. That's how you get a whole system just packed and ready to feed the plants what they want, and the plants will self-regulate. Don't really have to do very much anymore. I fill that water reservoir like once a week. Starting to get a little bit more now that the plants are getting big and growing fast, and they're starting to get into flower. But that is how you make your flower bed, and that is how you mix fertilizers. That's how you calculate fertilizer mixes. Well, guys, that's it. The plants are doing good inside the soil that we mixed together, and the organic fertilizers are breaking down. I added the one amendment in there and watered it in with molasses and water, so everything's been breaking down. The microbes are being fed. The plants look healthy. They got a nice color to them. They were overwatered at first, for sure, when they were inside rock wool. I'm going to switch from rock wool to root riot cubes, so they can be squeezed out, and I just don't have to worry about overwatering them as much. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe, and share the video with your friends. We have a lot more videos coming up, and I hope you join us. See you next time. Peace.